Let's look at some specific tips for installing Duraceramic with the ungrouted edge-to-edge finish option. With the subfloor prepared, the layout complete, and the adhesive set up, you can now begin. After you set the first tile in place, continue setting tiles in a stair-step pattern. Hold the tile in a low angle to the floor and position it tightly against the previously laid tile. Press it firmly into the adhesive. Continue in this manner, making cuts to finish the installation and roll the floor. We strongly recommend the use of Duraceramic joint sealer for edge-to-edge installations. It dries to a clear finish and will keep surface water and dirt from penetrating the joints. To use the joint sealer, shake the applicator bottle and allow the air bubbles to dissipate before using. Remove the plastic cap and cut about 1/16 of an inch off the applicator tip, leaving a very small opening. Starting in the far corner of the room, apply a thin 1/16 of an inch bead of sealer in the tile joint. Lay this bead in the first 2 rows, then come back immediately and seal the cross joints in this area before the sealer develops a surface film. Work in small sections, as the film will begin to develop in about 4 minutes. Repeat this process to seal all of the joints. Then, keep the floor clear of foot traffic and dust for about 8 hours. We will now look at the steps to follow when installing Duraceramic with grout. Layout of the floor is slightly different for grouted jobs because you must add the thickness of the grout spacing between the tiles when marking and measuring your tile placement. The spacing between the tiles can be from 1/16 to 1/4 of an inch, depending upon the desired grout width. It is helpful to snap additional chalk lines to keep the joints straight. After you prep the subfloor, mark the layout and make sure the adhesive is ready. You can set the tile. Position the first tile in place and use spacers to maintain consistent joint width. Position 2 spacers along the edges of adjacent tiles. Lay the next tile gently against the spacers without forcing it into place. Do not place spacers at the intersection of the joints.
I've been using standard tile spacers here to separate the tile for the joint. We've removed one leg of the spacer, which allows me to adjust the tile into place. You can also use an 1/8 inch piece of commercial vinyl composition tile as a spacer, and this works very nicely. Simply lay the pieces into place and use it just as you would a spacer, and it allows you to pull them out very easily afterwards.
Note that when cutting tile, remember to subtract the grout line space when marking the tile. After you have set all the tile and rolled the floor twice, you are ready to apply the grout. You will need the following tools: a hard rubber float, a 3M white nylon scrubbing pad, a firm square edge sponge, buckets with clean water, rubber gloves, and safety glasses. Duraceramic grout is the only grout that you can use with Duraceramic. It is a pre-mixed acrylic grout that is extremely flexible with excellent adhesion to the edge of the tile. This grout resists dimensional changes and subfloor deflection. Do not use traditional cement grouts. They will not perform.
Make sure that you pack the joints fully with the grout. Use the tip of the float to force it down in. Then come back diagonally to remove the excess. I'm going to cover about 20 square feet, then come back in and clean the surface off to remove any remaining haze.
After you finish grouting each section, squeeze some water over the tiles, making sure it does not flow into the ungrouted joints, and let it remain for about 30 seconds. Very lightly run a 3M white nylon pad over the joints in a circular motion. With a square edge sponge, lightly wipe diagonally across the joints to remove the water. Then rinse the sponge and use it to shape the joints and remove excess grout. Change rinse water often and clean tools immediately after use. Allow 24 hours for the grout to thoroughly dry. Then remove the grout haze with water and a sponge. Using an ammonia-based glass cleaner will make the job easier. Rinse with clean water and buff with a soft, dry terry cloth towel. A grout sealer is not necessary. However, you can use one that is compatible with acrylic grout. Replacing a Duraceramic tile is easy. Soften the grout and tile with a heat gun. Cut through the grout in the center of the joint. Remove the tile. Apply a thin application of adhesive and let it tack up. Place the new tile in position. Apply new grout. Duraceramic installation will be trouble-free if you follow the guidelines we have shown you. And remember, no special tools required, and a choice of grout or an edge-to-edge fit. With Duraceramic, it couldn't be much easier than that.